and welcome to Continent Con. We will now be introducing our cast for Out of This World. I'm Nicholas Beardsley. This is Melanie Bishop, Rebecca Lowy, Seth Nickel, Brittany Lowy, and then there is Julian Magellan and Kim, otherwise known as Ethan Johnston.
So how did everybody like the show today?
I guess on the line to introduce ourselves.
So I'm Nicholas Beardsley. I will be representing the eastern half of Asia, or specifically China, Japan, and eastern parts of Russia.
I'm Melanie Bishop, and I will be representing Africa.
I'm Rebecca Lowy, I'm representing Antarctica.
I'm Seth Nickel, and I'm representing Europe.
I'm Brittany Lowy, and I'll be representing North America.
I'm Emma Enders, and I'll be representing South America.
I'm Jillian Magellan, and I'm representing the other side of Asia.
I'm Ethan Johnson, and I'm representing Australia.
So does anyone have any questions of anything they saw on the show today that they didn't quite understand, or just any questions in general? No? Any at all? Oh, yeah.
What drew you to some of the choices that you made?
We made a trip to the archives with Brock and Janice, and we learned all sorts of stories. Well, they did, I wasn't there for that, but and we looked up some stories. Their orientation day, we got a continent, and we had to make a monologue piece of a youth in peril from that continent, and we all made those, and that kind of got incorporated with the play that you just saw.
I guess we chose stories, legends that we thought would inform the public the best of what's really going on around the world. We wanted to bring it to light. Some people they think they know a lot about what's going on, but there's lots of details that you should know about. I mean, it's incredible what's going on around the world right now.
No one really knows. We went and interviewed a lot of people around the town, just walking around the street, and you go up to someone and ask like, oh, so are you up to date with current events? And they all say, yeah, I listen to the radio all the time, I keep up with the news. Then we asked them, what are your thoughts on the Israel-Gaza situation? No idea what's going on. The Nigerian girls, no idea what's going on. So it's really interesting to hear that people don't really know what's going on. And neither did most of us coming into this.
Speaking of the section of this show really enlightened me to keep up with current events, because I came into this with I heard about stuff on the news like, oh, stuff in the Gaza Strip is horrible, or a few months back it was like, oh, there's horrible things happening in Syria, but I never really actually knew what was happening. Like, I just heard stuff is bad there, so this incentivized me to learn more about it, and I going forward, I think I'll be paying attention to the news a lot more. So I learned a lot from doing this, and the people that we interviewed that did have that did keep up with the news, it was very interesting to get their opinions on stuff, because it varied from different sides. Like, some people knew about it, knew a lot about it, but didn't really want to talk about it because they weren't comfortable with the subject. And others, they spilled like almost 20 minutes just talking about how the Israel-Palestinian war is a very old religious war, and so.
Another question?
Question for you. Were there ever actually any battles fought in Antarctica?
Well, that's actually an interesting story. So on orientation day, I was given Antarctica to make a dramatic piece about. And I did a lot of research and found out there's lots of UFO war conspiracies in Antarctica. So it was hard finding a story, but I ended up finding a story about a man who went to, he was boating in the Arctic waters, and they ended up making a base in Antarctica, and they were supposed to be fending off German U-boats. But their biggest story was that on their first base, it got surrounded by at least 10,000 penguins, and instead of fending off the penguins, they moved and built a new base. So there wasn't.
That was the March of the Penguins, not the March of the Troops.
Yeah. So that was all I could find about wars in Antarctica, but penguins, scary.
Was everyone aware that on August 4th, it was the 100th anniversary of World War I?
Does anyone know who the Canadian Prime Minister was at the time? Yes? No?
Sir Robert Borden?
It was indeed.
I knew him.
On our first day, actually, Jamie, our director, we all came in, and he has us all sit in a circle. And he pulls out a $100 bill. And we pass it around the circle, and he said, "What is the significance of this today?" And we're all looking at it, and we're all having this huge thing about, it's only a piece of paper, but it controls our lives. And he's like, "No, it's a $100 bill. And who's the Prime Minister on the $100 bill? Robert Borden." And he thought this was just hilarious. That there was a $100 bill and Robert Borden's on it, so
100 years. The same day, same exact day that it was 100 years. It was like, I wouldn't have known that, but cool. So,
yeah. Any other questions? Anything else?
Do you want to talk about your?
Oh yeah, okay. So most of the stories, I think, except for Nicholas's, which is a legend, were based off of real events. Like Seth's story about the German boy was a real thing, and my story, which was about a boy in Gaza, which is over there. It's a little storybook that my sister illustrated for me, and I wrote it. It's based off a collective of children from Gaza. As you know, they kind of targeted specific children, and yeah, it's messy. So I did a bunch of research about children over there, and I made them into one boy named Assam, and I tried to capture the essence of innocent childhood. So shooting stars weren't actually shooting stars. If you look at the pictures, they don't look like that. So yeah, and
Nicholas's story is
Yeah.
really interesting, the one he did.
Yeah, so I was, because there were 7 people, I missed an orientation by accident because I didn't pay attention onto the page. So there were 7 continents already given out. So I was given Nunavut as my continent or country. So I researched Native and Inuit stories, and I found I read a lot. And there was this one caught my eye because it was about a child in peril, but there were a lot of stories that they almost all of them really embraced spirituality, and there's not a lot of stories nowadays that do that. Like almost all the stories that they would tell at campfires or to children were that, like, this is how the world was made, or this is why we respect the spirits, sort of thing, and it was like the core of their society. Whereas nowadays, in certain places, religion is much more of a back burner to the forefront of our society. And it was interesting to see how different it was from the Europeans that came here to the people who actually lived here originally.
So was the story of the boy and his uncle, was that an actual native legend?
Yeah, it was. I cut it down a bit because it was actually around half an hour if I tried to tell it. So there was a few more trials, but there was like a whole page of like 30-minute stories, and it was really interesting going through them.
We have time for one last quick question. Yeah.
Yes, I'd like an answer from each of you. 2-part question. Yes or no answer for the first, and only one sentence for the second, so make it short. How much has this project changed you from where you started off before you came to this project, and then where are you now? Yes or no, and then one sentence as to how.
We'll start, Nicholas.
yeah.
And you don't have to even answer the second part if it's no, so.
I'd say yes, because This is my third year doing Yoko, but the previous 2 years were, the first year was farmers.
One sentence.
Okay. Yes, it has changed me. I've opened my mind to
Great.
the whole world.
Next work. Sorry, I'm a teacher, that's why.
It made me realize how much people are unaware of current going-ons in the world.
Yes, because coming into this, I knew ideas about what was going on around the world, but until you really research it and to find out the details, it's like, this is happening. Like, there are children getting married, and there are... One second, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, it made me more concerned with news now and even like, past and present.
Yeah, it has, because like you don't want to think of that stuff because you don't want to make yourself sad, but then as you start thinking more about what's going on, I guess it affects you more because you think like, what if you were one of those children getting married, or yeah.
Yes, it made me want to keep up with current events. Like, I downloaded the CNN app last week to keep myself up to date. Like, for sure.
Good for you.
I am very proud of that.
Also go to the BBC app. Not just CNN.
Yeah.
Yes. This show has taught me how to approach ideas around the world without going into like this sad, horrible way, but approaching it lightly and making it more friendly towards people.
Yes, because I didn't know much news outside of here in county. I didn't pay attention to anything that's going on around the world. But hearing about some of this stuff really makes you think about how we're treated compared to other people around the world.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, just please, can we get one last round of applause for the cast? Outside, if you have any more questions or comments, and we'd also like to thank our directors, Jamie Robinson and Bert